Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. The war unfolding in the Ukraine is not a product of capitalism, patriarchy, or technology. War has been built into our biology ever since the first evolution of our ancestors, bacteria, roughly 3.85 billion years ago. Bacteria, those first foremothers, lived in colonies of 7 trillion, more bacteria in one tightly knit society than all the humans who have ever lived. And those colonies made war with rival colonies, particularly over food and space, territory. Seemingly peaceful sea anemones on coastal rocks make war. Many of them are born as warriors and equipped with poison harpoons to attack rival colonies. These anemones fight over territory. They fight to expand their empires by battling rival sea anemone empires, the empires that look to us like peaceful shag rugs on the rocks, shag rugs in a life and death competition. And that's just the beginning. Ants make war. Even apes make war. But humans are unique. In the civilization of the West, we've invented something radically new: anti-war movements. And the Western system has increased the peace in the world by a factor of 10. In other words, your odds of dying a violent death at the hands of a fellow human being would have been 10 times what they are today in one of those lovely indigenous societies that we imagine live at peace with their neighbors and in harmony with nature. What's more, if you'd been born in 1650, 100 years before the Industrial Revolution, your odds of dying a violent death at the hands of a fellow human being would have been 10 times what they are today. So industrialization has increased the peace in the world. So has something else unique, a revolution in humanism that Harvard's Steven Pinker thinks began with the publication of the first novels 300 years ago, books that allowed us to experience life through the mind of another person. A humanist revolution, a revolution of kindness and empathy. Now, the trick will be to find a peaceful way to keep Vladimir Putin's ambitions in check. Putin's goal is to retake all of the Eastern European territory that Russia controlled before the fall of the USSR. That includes the Ukraine, Poland, Hungary, Romania, and more. He wants to install puppet regimes, faithful, loyal to only one thing: him. Economic sanctions may be one way to resolve a potential war peacefully, but sanctions have limitations. Russia supplies a third of Europe's oil and gas. If Europe doesn't behave, Putin can cut off that supply, leaving Europeans to shiver in the cold of winter in unheated homes. In addition, Russia has cash reserves of $630 billion, well over $500 billion. If the West shuts Putin out of our economy, Russia has another source of finance, a new 30-year deal for oil and gas announced at the opening of the Olympics, a deal in which Russia will buy massive quantities of Russia's oil and gas, making up for the income Russia loses on its oil and gas exports to Europe. In the end, we may be forced to use what anemones, ants, and apes use: military combat. This is Howard Bloom, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to create. Or, want to know why? Ask how.